Hello, my name is Lee Presser. This is my show. I speak frequently to very interesting people. Some of these conversations are so exciting, so intellectually stimulating, I thought others might like to listen in. This is the reason we started recording Conversation with Lee Presser.
Welcome to Conversation with Lee Presser. The Lights for Learning is a program which provides free energy efficiency presentations K through 12 students and junior college students throughout Illinois. To date, they've educated more than 250,000 students. They teach students how to modify their use of available forms of energy. The program teaches students how they and their parents can make more effective use of energy at home. Our guest today is Jackie Perrin. She is the Principal Educator and Program Manager of the Midwest Energy Efficiency Alliance Lights for Learning program and the Ameren, Illinois ActOnEnergy SEEKit program. Prior to managing these energy efficiency programs, Mrs. Perrin taught 5th, 6th, and 7th grades. Jackie Perrin, welcome to Conversation.
Thank you.
So most people probably never heard of this. They don't know a thing about it. So we're going to have to start right from the very beginning and explain why you're here and what it is that you're doing for their kids at school.
Very good. Illinois' best kept secret.
All right. So let's just start from the beginning. What is Lights for Learning and all the rest of that stuff that I just talked about?
Lights for Learning is a DCEO program. It's
Let's
funded
not do
by a
acronyms
grant.
here.
The Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity actually provides a grant
Yes.
for us to be able to go into schools and provide students with free presentations on the need for energy efficiency and energy conservation. And the idea behind the program is to really educate the children so that they become the educators in their own family. So the students actually take the information home, share it with their family, and look to really reduce their home energy consumptions with those simple things that can be done that have a huge and immediate impact.
So how do you go about training young people in this?
It's interesting. It starts with, we do presentations as young as kindergarten. Our kindergarten presentations, kindergarten and first grade, are all about Stella, the Energy Star horse, because what kindergarten and first grader doesn't like a horse? And she really works to teach the kids about the need for energy efficiency. It's done from a setting of what a horse kind of views the world as it were. This bright blue sky, and then Stella has an opportunity to sort of venture out and look at how things are in a city and realizes the ramifications of energy use and how it sort of complicates things. So it brings the kids through the whole process of, again, those simple little things that the kids can do. And from there, it's just a move on up the food chain. 2nd through 4th grade, it's certainly...
Before we go further, is this a video that you're showing or of this horse? Or?
It's a DVD slideshow.
Okay.
And then we actually have activity workbooks that sort of follow the idea of the program for the students in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade.
And how long are the children engaged in this program?
Kindergarten and 1st grade are typically 20 to 25 minutes because they do have a shortened attention span.
I have to point out, you were a teacher, so you know your way around dealing with these young kids.
Absolutely.
Okay.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade presentations average about 30 minutes. And then anything after that are 40 to 45 minutes. And the whole program is really meant to be a program that goes in and sort of pulls together all the pieces. The students have been hearing reduce, recycle, reuse since they were 3 years old. I feel our job is to really put the pieces together and help them understand how that really does impact their future. Again, simple energy efficiency measures, and really that they are our future. And if they act in a positive, proactive manner now, then we're all good. It's kind of like when I say to the students after every presentation, someday when somebody says we're almost out of fossil fuels, oh no, what are we going to do? There can't be any finger pointing because we all have a hand in this.
Mm-hmm. Now, at the end of the 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or 40 minutes, depending on your presentation, what do you want the student to actually walk away with?
We really come back at the end of each presentation and work with the students. It's a lot of dialogue with the students about what they've learned. Give me 3 things that you didn't know before we started this whole process today.
And what might those things sound like?
Most students don't realize the impact of simple things like leaving televisions on, leaving chargers plugged in, still using incandescent light bulbs is a huge piece to the puzzle. We actually have an energy bike, which we bring into the presentations. Kindergarten, first grade are typically too small to ride the bike, but the students like nothing more than to see their teacher or their principal on the bike, where the participant actually has to pedal the bike and see just how much more energy it takes to power an old style incandescent light bulb versus a newer compact fluorescent, because it's such a dramatic difference. It's the best teaching tool we can find to really drive the energy efficiency message home.
Compact fluorescent bulbs, LED bulbs. Do you also show
Correct.
those as well?
Correct, yep.
And they use less electricity as well?
Compact fluorescent light bulbs are going to use significantly less energy than an incandescent, and an LED uses a little less than a compact fluorescent. The real benefit of LEDs is their lifespan, because right now they're rated anywhere from 20 to 30,000 hours. So this is, you're looking at 20 years for a light bulb, which is
I want to take just a side journey here. What you're talking about is excellent information, and yet it's political, isn't it? Do you wind up having some objections to even talking about this kind of stuff?
Occasionally. I think parents are very much on board with the students learning more about energy efficiency and conservation. Compact fluorescent light bulbs have gotten some bad press. So
these are the ones that have a smidgen of mercury in them.
It averages about 2 milligrams, which is equivalent to the tip of a pen. So if you look at your watch battery, which typically has 25 milligrams of mercury, or a silver filling, which can have 400 milligrams of mercury, I don't want to say it's inconsequential, but it is a very small amount. And I think part of our job is to also educate the public on all these other places that mercury exists and nobody thinks twice of. A lot of times it's still used in a lot of women's makeup. It is a component. It is a component in the sneakers that light up when children run across the room. There's actually a little mercury switch in there. And a lot of what we do with the program is to educate the students on the need to recycle those compact fluorescent light bulbs.
I just want to say, when I was in 7th grade, we actually handled mercury.
Me as well.
It was like a little ball, and you'd push it around, and it was so cute. And then we actually built like a homemade barometer. And this is in science class, we're talking about, in 7th grade science. And, I'm not dead, and I was handling a whole bunch of mercury. So I know that mercury can be a danger, but perhaps the press has overemphasized these minuscule amount and the danger that they represent.
I think the idea behind it is, let us educate the students on the need to recycle these things. I think the kids see the big picture. When we realize that most households have anywhere from 35 to 45 light bulbs, if every house on your block threw out their compact fluorescent light bulbs at the end of their use, we would wind up with a whole lot of mercury that could eventually seep into water systems and things like that. So it's really just educating the students about the fact that they do need to be recycled.
Now, how are they recycled? Is it like you throw it in the blue container
It depends
along
on
with
where
all the
you
other
live.
recycling?
Correct. It depends on where you live. I tell people to look, to check with their local trash hauler, because sometimes they do recycle compact fluorescent light bulbs, but the majority of the sort of big box stores now recycle. Home Depot, I believe Lowe's is launching a program, Ace Hardware. All these places are really working with people to recycle their compact fluorescent light bulbs. We also, through Lights for Learning, have placed recycling bins at several public libraries and a few park districts as well. So it's just another place that people have the ability to recycle those bulbs.
So it's maybe Lowe's and those guys need to have like an exchange program. You
That
bring
would be
one,
nice.
and
You give
then
one,
we'll
get
sell
one.
you one. And we'll sell you one.
Give one, get one.
Right. So yes. So but other than this compact fluorescent with a little bit of mercury in it, Are there any other objections to the things that you're trying to teach young people?
No, not really. We've really had, you know, amazing support through parents and parent-teacher organizations and school administrators and teachers and stuff, just because it's, I don't want to use one-stop shopping, but it is, because we come in, we do this presentation for your students. We have a lot of classroom experience behind myself and I have an educational presenter, and we have the ability to come in and take over your class, give the teacher that little bit of a needed break if they need. I mean, I often have teachers who leave the room. You know, give me your kids, let me take them for 30 minutes and educate them on stuff that they're going to carry forward.
So how do you get booked into various schools? Right now you're here in talking to us, and you're in Metro East Illinois, which would represent basically from Alton all the way down south of Belleville.
Correct.
Okay, so there's some large systems that are in there. How would you get booked into the Edwardsville or the Belleville system?
A lot of what we do is marketing the program, and we work throughout the state on behalf of different parent organizations, educational organizations. We spend a week at the Illinois State Fair. We work with the Illinois Association of Vocational and Agricultural Teachers. We work with the Illinois Science Teachers Association. We do mass mailings. We do a lot of even cold calls to school just to let them know that this program is available.
Is this costing them anything to have you come in?
This is a completely free program. And we also offer the option of a unique fundraiser where it kind of takes the educational component to the next level, because the schools then have us come in and do our educational presentation, and then the students can actually do a fundraiser where they're selling energy efficient products. Things like power strips, smart power strips, energy efficient lighting, compact fluorescent light bulbs, and LEDs, things like that. The benefit for the school is they're getting all Energy Star qualified products sold at typically less than retail, and the schools are keeping 50% as proceeds right off the top, which is great. There's no minimum order and there's no charge for shipping. So if just a handful of students participate, that's great. If 200 students participate and you can raise a few $1,000s for your school, that's even better. And it's promoting the message. Again, it's making that child the educator.
We have some of those items here.
We do.
So while we're talking about them, then we'll get back to some other stuff. But
this is a different program.
So, yeah, well, why don't you tell us about
this is a different program. The program I was speaking of before was Lights for Learning. This is an additional program that has just launched as of December 1st, 2013 in Ameren, Illinois, gas and electric territory. So it's mostly southern Illinois, where Lights for Learning is completely statewide. This is our SEEKit program. And the SEEKit program provides free presentations for middle school students specifically on efficiency and conservation, and then each student gets their own take-home energy efficiency kit provided completely free of charge by the utility.
Each student is getting this?
Each student,
so
correct.
So it looks to me like you got two compact bulbs here.
Correct. Two compact fluorescent light bulbs that the students can actually go home and swap out some of their incandescents for.
And I thought this was pretty cool.
This is a high efficiency or low flow shower head. So
now, what's the important? Why don't you explain to people who might not know what's the importance?
Well, not only
of this?
is this going to reduce the amount of water that's being used, it will help significantly reduce the amount of hot water needed to take your shower, because if we're using less water, then we're actually using less hot water. So any of the high efficiency or low flow shower heads or faucet aerators are going to have a positive impact on your energy consumption from the standpoint of the amount of energy needed to heat your water.
And then you're also...
that is a swivel aerator for a kitchen faucet. And there's also a small one for a bathroom faucet, and then a roll of the thread seal tape.
So that they can actually
exactly
put this over the threads.
Correct.
And I went to your website and I saw there's even instructions there as to how to use this properly for those who have never done that before.
With this program, with the SEEKit program, we have the students each get a unique take-home efficiency worksheet. So it's a student energy education kit, and the students actually get this neat worksheet. It's the pursuit for saving energy, and they go through the house and they can do all these different activities where they can count up the number of light bulbs they have in their house. They can actually install their 2 compact fluorescent light bulbs. They can determine whether they're using a high efficiency shower head first before they actually install it. All the directions are here for the students to actually calculate the rate of flow for their water.
Of the old and the new?
Correct. Yep. And then the students install that. And then when they're all done with these basic installations, then we ask the students to either take this worksheet back to school and with their teacher, or do it at home with their parents. They actually go online and they complete what looks very similar to this on the ActOnEnergy website. So Ameren Illinois Utilities, the sponsor of the SEEKit program, is actually able to capture this information, which is great for an energy efficiency company, or an energy company. They're always looking to provide raw data on how they're saving energy and things that they're doing. So it's just a really unique program. We've had very high success with this program. Like I said, this is a pilot program. It just launched in December. So we are
And what sort of
working-
success are you having with this? I mean, are the kids like really like, wow, this is cool?
The
Or it's
kids-
like,
No, the kids love it. And they love the packaging on the container. And that was, when we developed
this thing here that looks almost like Chinese
It does.
takeout.
It's gotten very positive feedback because it's kind of a unique package. On the back, it has what looks like a nutrition label, but it actually has the details of what's in the kit. And, it's 100% motivating, 100% stimulation, things like that. The kids love it. And, there's always some, especially when you're working with 7th and 8th graders, because they're a little different breed, who are kind of like, no, whatever.
Yeah.
But for the most part, but, it's really neat to, again, see the students go home and engage their family in a neat sort of family activity and share the information that they've learned.
How long have you been doing this?
This program, Lights for Learning, 8 years, and SEEKit, just about a year.
So long enough for the Lights for Learning to actually have some experience with kids that have grown up.
Absolutely, yeah.
What have you found?
It's one of those things where, like any good teacher wants, if they have one student that comes back to them and says,
"Oh, you changed my life."
Exactly, you made a difference, or something you taught me.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that something we're teaching these students is actually going home with them.
And have you had that moment?
I have had kids that come back to me not as adults, but if they see me in a school at a later date, will say, you told me that I should be doing that, and I'm still doing it, which is great. It makes me feel good. Whether it's being proactive about changing your light bulbs or turning things off or disconnecting those.
Computers, the old computer screens in particular, the CRTs, were enormous users of electricity.
Well, the big one now that we're finding is game systems, because what a lot of students will do is not turn off their game system. They'll either put it in sleep mode or like suspend it, or they will just turn the television off. Calculations right now are coming in at about $75 worth of energy use per year just for having a game system turned on.
Yeah, see, and so that's times one.
Right.
And then when you add them all up over...
Exactly. Yeah, it's like
Not
I said to
every
the kids,
student
that's
has one,
$75. You could buy 2 games at the end of the year.
Yes. But it's also, the amount of additional energy that Ameren over time has to build in, to add on to their capacity too.
Correct.
So I imagine that's part of why Ameren is involved in this,
Absolutely.
So that they don't have to be continuously building out more and more generating capacity.
Correct. Because it's just beneficial for everybody. And, if we can educate the children, because we found, I think, generally speaking, that educating the child works better sometimes than educating the parents. I hate to say that, but it's true.
Well, kids are still in a learning mode.
Right. The parents don't always listen to what we have to say, but if we can educate their children, and it's interesting because I've actually had the experience where I've been at a Home Depot and seen a child say to their parents when they're looking at light bulbs, because Saturday mornings you go out to do errands and you invariably at some point wind up at Home Depot, to have the students actually say, no, we can't use those. Those are energy hogs, or those waste too much energy. We have to use these. These are better. These are better. They're going to save money. And then it's always a dialogue between the parent and the child about, well, this light bulb's a little bit cheaper, yes, but these save energy. And invariably, the parents will reach for the one that might be a little more expensive at the beginning, but when you factor in the energy savings over time, there's no comparison.
There is one, and we talked about this before, and I don't want to be, the bad guy here, but there is a quality of light difference between the compact fluorescents. I'm a photographer, so that's why I'm calling it compact flat. Between these fluorescents and the incandescents. I'll tell you a quick story. We have a light for the dogs at night, okay? And so when we switched and we have switched, and we now use the CF, but it was like, oh my God, the Martians are here.
What I would urge you to do is, compact fluorescent light bulbs typically come in different gradients of light.
There is kind of a bluish,
you can get
and there is
bright
kind of a
white, which tends to be very blue. Sunlight can be very yellow. We really like the warm white because it most closely mimics that incandescent light. The other thing is, check out some of the new LED lights that are available.
Talk about that, because I don't think people know much about that.
The lighting is amazing. The quality of lighting has gotten much better. When they first came out for sort of home use, it was very blue. They've worked really hard to get a lot of that blue cast out of there. They've come down significantly in price. I know that Home Depot has some.
As they should when you start selling in great quantities. They become commodities.
Correct. So they've come down to a much more affordable price, a little bit more reasonable. The quality of light's better.
So they're fixing it for me.
Just for you.
That's right.
Just for you.
It's so that I feel better about using.
And the length of time right now, for what they're rated at, it's averaging about 20 years. So, it's like when I say to the kids, especially when you say to a 10th grade or a 10-year-old, how would you like to change the light in your bedroom today and not change it again until 10 years after you move out of your house? Because you're going to be 30 years old when you're changing that light bulb again. That has an impact on a student they make that connection. Because often we hear of, the incandescent light bulb that burnt out, and you never go to the cupboard to get one. You steal one from your brother's or your sister's room. So when they walk in the door, they don't have any light. So, because that's kind of fun. Why wouldn't you do that as a child? So between the compact fluorescents, which now are averaging 8 to 10 years, and the LEDs, which are at 20, and the LEDs do not need to be recycled, which is another bonus to LEDs.
Let's point out to people that stoplights that people, they're driving along, they look up. It used to be that there was one big light bulb behind the red, the yellow, and the green.
Correct.
And now, if you look at it closely, it's actually teeny little, because there's lots of LEDs in there. And so you'll see occasionally there'll be like a little black area where an LED bulb did go out. But they're finding that those last so long that it's so much cheaper for the cities or for whoever's responsible for those to use them.
Well, the other nice thing about LEDs is because they're using so much less energy, often, especially if you look in larger cities, they'll actually have solar powers providing the power for some of those, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's a great, another way to really promote energy efficiency and conservation.
Now, we got like about 5 minutes left, believe it or not. So at this point, I know, it goes by. At this point, I say, if there's anything we haven't covered, let's get it covered now.
Oh my goodness, so much pressure. Can I do a little show and tell?
Sure, you can.
So with the Lights for Learning program, which again is a kindergarten through 12th grade, these are some of the activities that we have for the students. We have our primary level book, and we have...
Which camera are we on? Or I guess we're...
an elementary level.
All right, there we are.
As well. And there's just different activities, but the idea behind these workbooks is for the students to actually...
Oh, I see. Open.
identify some ways to save energy, so it really brings the program full circle, and just some neat activities for the students to do. So it goes from wasting energy to saving energy. We have middle school worksheets, which really encompass a lot of, again, what we talk to the students about. Plus, we try to make something a little fun on the back for the kids, and there's like a checklist they can go through and check off ways that they save energy. And for the high school students, they can actually go through their house and do the actual calculations of how much they can save by changing out their incandescent light bulbs to their compact fluorescents or LEDs, which is a great activity. Students, as a rule, hate this because it's math. Teachers love it. Again, the programs, both Lights for Learning and the SEEKit program, are free of charge. Whether we come in and do one presentation for 30 students or spend the day and speak to 300, it's all free.
Do you ever do like assemblies, or is it always?
We do. I've done assemblies as large as 350 students. So it's a big assembly.
Yeah.
But
and do you find that you hold their attention?
It depends on the age range of the students. Sometimes that can be a little more difficult to hold their attention, but sort of if you take a break in the middle and do a little Simon Says, which I do all the time with the students, it kind of breaks up the monotony. If you can get them standing and then settle them back down and bring them back, all right, let's refocus. What were we talking about before? Let's identify some of the things we were talking of 5 minutes ago, and then get back into the flow of the program. They're children.
In the last minute or two, I also mentioned that you do junior college.
We do.
What do you do for them?
Exactly the same program that we do for our high school students, but what we found is that even at the junior college level, so many of these students are going off to junior college and living on their own, and if they don't have experience with programs like this, they don't really understand that now they're paying their own bill. And they have to start thinking about energy savings and energy consumption. So it kind of puts those two pieces together for them. If all of a sudden you can tell them when, they're realizing just how expensive it is to light their home or their apartment, if they can make those simple changes and it's going to have an impact on their pocketbook or their bottom line, it makes a big difference to students.
Yeah, they need to take a look at that monthly bill, the electric bill and the gas bill.
They do, because that's when it becomes a reality. When all of a sudden you have students who are moving out of the house at 18, 19, 20 years old, then that's when everything really puts the
how many
pieces
pizzas
together.
Is that?
Exactly.
How many movies, how many CDs
exactly.
does all that equal out to?
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're both amazingly positive programs. Like I said, the best thing is they're all free of charge. We're willing to come in and talk to kindergarten through 12th grade with Lights for Learning. SEEKit is specific to middle school students.
We put up some contact information and phone numbers on the screen so that people, if they care to, right now.
Absolutely, can give us a phone call, and we'd be happy to work with them to bring this program to their schools.
Right. Well, in addition to this appearing on the charter system, we're also going to be uploading this onto YouTube.
Very good.
So that people who see this can just go to YouTube and type this, conversation with Lee Presser and put your name, Jackie Perrin, in there, and boom, they'll be able to show it to their friends.
Do I have just a quick mention
I
can
go
do?
Ahead.
Lights for Learning right now is actually hosting a poetry contest. And if they want to make a phone call to us, where we really engage students in kindergarten through 12th grade to promote energy efficiency through poetry. So it's a neat program. We also will be hosting a video contest for Earth Day, where the students can actually upload a 60-second video on what they're doing to save energy.
Cool.
So just some neat programs. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And to the audience, I've been speaking with Jackie Perrin, Lights for Learning. There's a whole lot of other names that I don't have time to say anymore. So thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.